In a world where every glance is a headline and every silence gets subtitled, Beyonce and Jay-Z just walked straight into the middle of the loudest storm the internet has cooked up in years, and what people are now saying about the two of them behind the scenes is not just uncomfortable, it is completely rewriting how fans see the biggest power couple in music history. And it did not happen because of a leaked song, a leaked email, or a leaked contract. It happened because of a series of tiny, blink-and-miss moments that got clipped, slowed down, zoomed in on, replayed at half speed, and passed around the internet like a piece of evidence in a case that nobody officially opened yet. But before we go any further into this, understand something. What you are about to hear is not one scandal. It is a whole chain of them, stacked back to back, and the deeper you go, the more you start to realize why Beyonce and Jay-Z might be quietly living through the strangest chapter of their entire relationship in public. Because right now, the conversation online is not about a new album. It is not about a tour set list. It is not about a fashion moment or a Grammy speech. It is about the way Jay-Z looked at his wife during one of her own concerts, the way he did not look at her during another one, the way he reportedly reacted when Meghan Markle came within camera range, and the way one confused Snapchat video suddenly turned one of the richest men in music into the internet's favorite meme uncle. And somehow, in the middle of all of that, Beyonce is standing on stage like nothing is happening, doing what she always does, which is command the entire planet with a single vocal run while millions of amateur detectives at home freeze frames of her husband and ask a question that will not go away. What is really going on inside that marriage? And that question is the reason you are here right now, so buckle in, because we are pulling this thing apart piece by piece. Let us rewind to where all of this actually caught fire. It started with a clip. A short, grainy, phone-shot clip of Beyonce mid-performance, giving one of those signature moments where the lighting hits, the vocals lock in, and the crowd loses its mind. But the camera did not stay on her. It drifted. And it landed on Jay-Z. And the second it landed on him, the internet decided the story was no longer the show. The story was his face. Because to a lot of people watching that clip back, Jay-Z did not look like a man watching his wife perform for a stadium full of screaming fans. He looked like a man somewhere else entirely. Not sad. Not angry. Just gone. And once one person said it, 10,000 people said it, and once 10,000 people said it, the algorithm did what the algorithm always does. It amplified. Now, here is where it gets interesting, because right after that video started blowing up, Team Defense showed up in the comments and did what they always do for this couple. They said the whole thing was being twisted. They said the man was tired. They said he had been to 100 of these shows. They said he was probably running numbers in his head about the next business deal because that is what Jay-Z actually does when he is standing on the side of a stage. But no matter how much sense that argument made, the damage was already done, because at this level of fame, Beyonce could genuinely blink twice during a bridge and there would be a full 40-minute investigation online by the time the encore started. That is not an exaggeration. That is just the tax of being the biggest artist alive. But here is what changed everything. That concert clip was not the only clip. Not even close. Because while everybody was still arguing about Jay-Z's face at that one show, another moment dropped, and this one made the last one look like nothing. Beyonce had just announced a stop at Yankee Stadium, one of the biggest venues on the entire tour, and the build-up around it was insane. Fans were flying in from other countries. Ticket resale prices were breaking records. People were camping outside for merch. And then reports started coming out that outside the venue, things were not okay. Not concert chaos in a fun way. Concert chaos in a scary way. Fans were reportedly fainting in the heat. Fans were reportedly getting sick, and not the polite version of sick either. Some people were literally throwing up in line while waiting to see Beyonce step on that stage. And in the middle of that scene, another clip surfaced, and this one had absolutely nothing to do with the fans outside. It had everything to do with who Jay-Z bumped into inside. Because when the couple crossed paths with Meghan Markle, the internet did what the internet does best. It rolled the tape back. It watched it 3 times. It slowed it down. And it decided somebody was in trouble. Now depending on which side of that clip you were on, you either saw a completely normal celebrity hello, or you saw something that made you tilt your head. Some viewers said Jay-Z's body language toward Meghan Markle read a specific way. Some viewers said the exchange lasted a beat too long. Some viewers said the whole thing looked awkward in a way they could not quite explain but could definitely feel. And then, of course, the second layer conversation started, the one nobody wanted to say out loud but everyone was thinking. People started asking whether Beyonce was standing right there and choosing not to see something. Whether she was doing that thing she has mastered, holding her face perfectly still while quietly filing it away for later. Now let me pump the brakes right here for a second, because this is the part where the internet always gets it twisted. There is no confirmation. There is no statement. There is no source. There is a short clip, shot from a strange angle, played back with music underneath it, and reposted by accounts whose entire business model is squeezing outrage out of 5-second videos. That is what we are actually looking at. But once a narrative like that gets loose, it does not matter how many disclaimers you put on it. It runs. And this one ran. Because the moment you put Jay-Z, Beyonce, and Meghan Markle in the same sentence, you have essentially handed the internet a loaded weapon, and the internet does not miss. And then, right when you thought the mood could not shift again, it shifted, because the next Jay-Z moment that went viral was not scandalous at all. It was hilarious. Somebody caught Jay-Z trying to figure out Snapchat. That is it. That is the whole video. One of the richest men in the history of hip-hop, a man who has sat across from presidents, a man who has built empires, staring at a phone screen like it just insulted his mother. He is squinting. He is tapping. He is turning the phone. He is doing the thing your dad does when the Wi-Fi goes out. And the internet went absolutely feral for it, because for the first time in a long time, Jay-Z was not being framed as a mogul, a mystery, or a villain. He was being framed as a slightly confused billionaire uncle who lost the war against a filter. And for what it is worth, Beyonce has been that person in her own household forever, because if there is one universal truth about long marriages, it is that one of you eventually becomes the tech support and one of you eventually becomes the customer. But of course, the internet cannot let a light moment breathe, so the very next thing that surfaced was another one of those Jay-Z at a Beyonce concert clips, and this one was even spicier than the first. In this new video, he appeared to some fans to be glancing, and I want to be very careful with the word glancing here, at a woman in the audience during her set. Now what actually happened in that moment is genuinely up for debate, because eyes wander, cameras lie, and one frame of a 2-hour concert cannot possibly tell you what is going on inside somebody's head. But that did not stop anyone. Within hours the clip was everywhere. And once again the split-screen war began. On one side, the people who said Jay-Z was caught out and Beyonce deserves better, and this is exactly why the internet has been suspicious for years. On the other side, the people who said a 2-second look is not a crime, and if we are going to build entire soap operas out of eye contact, then none of us are safe. Here is the part nobody wants to admit though. For most people walking through a normal day, a stray glance means absolutely nothing. It is background noise. It does not mean anything. It does not go anywhere. It certainly does not end up on TMZ. But Jay-Z is not most people, and Beyonce is not most people, and their marriage is not most marriages, because they do not just live in the public eye. They live inside a magnifying glass that has been aimed at them for over 2 decades. Every gesture, every smile, every non-smile, every second-row seat, every pap walk, every anniversary post, every missing anniversary post, all of it gets pulled apart in real time by people who feel like they know them personally, even though most of us have only ever seen this couple through a screen. And that is really the story underneath the story. Because if you zoom out from the Snapchat clip and the Meghan Markle clip and the concert reaction clip and the woman in the crowd clip, what you are actually watching is a couple that has been in the spotlight for so long that the spotlight has started to invent new questions to ask them. The internet is not really asking whether Jay-Z looked at somebody funny. The internet is asking whether one of the greatest love stories in music, the one Beyonce literally built entire albums around, is still the story it used to be. That is the real question hiding under every one of these clips, and it is the reason none of them go away quietly. Because if you can chip away at Beyonce and Jay-Z, you can chip away at the whole idea that any famous couple is really okay behind their front door. And that is where you have to remember the receipts, because this is not the first time these two have been dragged into a moment like this. Beyonce already wrote the definitive album about a chapter in the marriage that a lot of people thought would end it, and instead of ending it, she flipped it into one of the most successful bodies of work of her career. Jay-Z came back on his own record and spoke about the situation with a kind of honesty most artists at his level never touch. And after all of that, Beyonce and Jay-Z did not just stay together, they went on to build one of the most powerful joint tours of the modern era and one of the most iconic live projects in music history. So when new clips come out and people rush to declare that the whole thing is falling apart, it helps to remember that this couple has already lived through a public storm that would have flattened almost anybody else, and they came out the other side of it holding hands in a stadium. But here is where I have to be real with you. That history does not make them untouchable. It does not put them in a bulletproof bubble. What it does is set the bar for how the internet reads every new headline attached to their names. And right now the internet is reading these headlines the same way it reads every Beyonce and Jay-Z moment. With one eye on the fairy tale and one eye on the fine print. Because when they step out on a red carpet together, half the crowd is looking at what they are wearing and half the crowd is looking at whether they are standing an inch too far apart. That is the level of surveillance this couple lives under, and nobody signed up for it in that exact form, but nobody is walking away from it either, because that surveillance is part of the price of the empire they built. Now let us talk about that empire for a second, because it matters here. Jay-Z is not just a rapper. Beyonce is not just a singer. Together they are, at this point, one of the most influential business partnerships in entertainment. There are labels, there are tours, there are catalogs, there are streaming plays, there are brand deals, there are ventures most of us do not even know the names of, and behind all of it, there is a family. That is the piece the clip culture always forgets. Because when a 2-second video of Jay-Z looking tired at a concert gets turned into a headline, what is not in that headline is the fact that these two are running an operation the size of a small country while also raising kids, while also headlining stadiums, while also, occasionally, being human. And humans get tired. Humans zone out. Humans stare into space during a song they have heard their spouse sing 500 times. And here is another layer people are refusing to sit with. Both Beyonce and Jay-Z have already told us, in their own art, on their own terms, exactly what they went through and how they came out of it. Beyonce put it in the music. Jay-Z put it in the music. They did not leak it. They did not sell it to a magazine. They wrote it, they released it, and they let the audience decide what to do with it. So when the same audience turns around years later and pretends that a 5-second clip of him looking off camera is somehow the smoking gun of the century, you have to laugh a little, because the actual smoking gun already came out on wax, it went platinum, and everyone streamed it on the way to work. The transparency has been there. The receipts have been there. The story got told. What is happening now is not a new revelation. It is a rerun with a shakier camera. And speaking of the kids, here is a detail people keep skipping. Blue Ivy is not a rumor. Blue Ivy is on stage now. Blue Ivy has been performing right alongside Beyonce on this run of shows. And every time she walks out there and does her thing, the family narrative snaps right back into focus, because it is very hard to sell a story about a marriage falling apart when the daughter of that marriage is out there in front of 80,000 people, hitting choreography next to her mother, while her father is somewhere in the wings clapping. That does not fit the tabloid script. That does not clip well for the outrage feed. So the outrage feed just quietly skips over it and goes back to the 2-second reaction shots instead. But the receipt is right there. Blue Ivy on stage next to Beyonce, with Jay-Z watching from the side, is the counter story that never trends as hard as the drama story, and that tells you everything you need to know about how this game is played. Now let me steer this back to the moment we are actually in, because there is one more layer to all of this that is not getting talked about enough. And it is the Beyonce of it all. Because in every one of these viral moments, she herself has said nothing. Not a post. Not a caption. Not a subtweet. Nothing. And that silence is not weakness. That silence is strategy. Beyonce has spent her entire career mastering the art of when to speak and when to let the noise burn itself out. She does not owe the internet an explanation of her husband's face. She does not owe anyone a statement about a moment with Meghan Markle. She does not owe anyone a caption clarifying what Jay-Z was looking at during her own show. She is going to keep performing, keep releasing, keep building, and let the clips do whatever the clips are going to do, because that is how Beyonce has always operated. Meanwhile, Jay-Z has done what he always does when the internet gets loud. He has kept it moving. There is no tearful apology. There is no clarifying video. There is no cryptic Instagram story. Jay-Z is not on Snapchat, obviously, because we already established that Snapchat and him are locked in an ongoing feud that Snapchat is currently winning. But you get the point. Neither Beyonce nor Jay-Z is playing the reactive game right now, and that itself is the biggest signal in this entire story, because couples that are actually cracking under public pressure tend to leak. They tend to slip. They tend to send a friend to a podcast. They tend to have somebody on their team quote-unquote confirm the mood behind the scenes. None of that is happening. Which either means Beyonce and Jay-Z are the most disciplined couple in entertainment, or it means the story the internet is telling is louder than the story the couple is actually living. Now, to be fair, this is not me telling you nothing is going on. I am not in their house. Nobody watching this is in their house. And anyone who tells you they know what a marriage looks like at midnight based on a 15-second concert clip is lying to you. What I am telling you is that the gap between what we are seeing and what we are being told we are seeing is enormous, and that gap is where the whole industry of celebrity gossip lives. It is a gap that pays rent. It is a gap that runs channels. It is a gap that keeps this couple on the front page whether they cooperate or not. And every clip we just walked through, from the concert reaction to the Meghan Markle moment to the Snapchat meltdown to the crowd glance, is another brick in that gap. And here is the twist most people miss. All of this attention, all of this drama, all of this reaction farming, is actually good for the very machine Beyonce and Jay-Z built. The tour keeps trending. The concerts keep selling. The catalog keeps streaming. The brand keeps compounding. Every argument in the comments is another minute of watch time. Every accusation is another share. Every defense is another view. They do not need to say a single word for the algorithm to keep pushing them, because the algorithm has learned that anything with their names attached to it prints. And in a strange way, that is the ultimate flex. You do not have to feed the beast when the beast will feed itself just to be near you. Think about it. Every time somebody sits down to make a video about how Beyonce and Jay-Z are supposedly falling apart, they end up naming the tour, the songs, the venues, the family, the businesses, and the entire back catalog just to build the case. That is free promotion delivered by the same people who claim they are exposing the couple. The critics are running the marketing department for free. The rumor accounts are moving units. The drama pages are pushing tickets. And the two people at the center of it all are on stage or in the studio, quietly cashing in on outrage they never had to author. It is a machine that does not know how to lose, because even the losses feed the machine. So where does this leave us? It leaves us where every Beyonce and Jay-Z story leaves us. With more questions than answers, more clips than context, and more theories than confirmations. Are the two of them going through something the world does not know about? Maybe. Are Beyonce and Jay-Z the same as they have always been and the internet is just louder than ever? Also maybe. Is the truth somewhere in the messy middle where two very rich, very tired, very human people are trying to raise a family while also being watched by the entire planet 24 hours a day? That last one is probably the closest thing to reality anybody is going to get, and it is also the least fun to post about, which is exactly why nobody is posting about it. But listen, I want to hear from you on this, because this is one of those stories where the comments section is more interesting than the video. Do you think Beyonce and Jay-Z are really going through something behind the scenes, or is the internet just running through their names to farm clicks and outrage? Do you think the Meghan Markle moment was actually as awkward as people said, or was it just another 5-second clip that got weaponized? Do you think Jay-Z's face at that concert meant anything, or was he just, and I cannot stress this enough, a middle-aged man who has been to a lot of concerts? Drop it in the comments. Tell me who you think is being unfair to who here, because I already know this thread is about to be a movie. And before you swipe out of here, understand this. Whether these clips are nothing or whether these clips are the beginning of something, one thing is not up for debate. The world is not going to stop watching Beyonce and Jay-Z. Not now. Not ever. Because when you are talking about the biggest couple in music, the spotlight does not flicker. It does not dim. It does not politely look away when things get uncomfortable. It stays locked on, and it stays hungry, and it turns every frame of their lives into a story whether they consent to it or not. That is the deal Beyonce signed. That is the deal Jay-Z signed. That is the deal every person around them signed. And that is why, no matter what happens next, you are going to hear about it here first. So do me one favor before you go. Tell me in the comments which moment shook you the most. The concert face. The Meghan Markle meeting. The Snapchat meltdown. The crowd glance. Or the fact that after all of it, Beyonce is still walking on stage every night like the internet does not exist. And then go check the video I have queued up right after this one, because I have another story lined up that ties directly back into everything you just heard, and trust me, once you see how it connects, you are not going to look at this couple the same way again. I am telling you right now, do not swipe away yet. Because this next chapter is where it really gets loud.